FM News Talk 97.1. On demand audio.
Folks in Congress are also going to get a chance to decide later in the month whether our construction workers should sit around doing nothing while China builds the best railroads, the best schools, the best airports in the world. We used to have the best stuff. Think about, the world used to say, let's travel to America, let's see the Golden Gate Bridge, let's see the Hoover Dam, let's see these amazing things that America built.
Built with non-union labor,
by the way. Are we going to be the generation where we stop building?
During a depression.
Where we've got rundown roads and bridges that are deemed obsolete? That's not who America is. So Congress will have a chance to see if they want to put Americans back to work doing the work that America needs done.
Well, yeah, here's your other chance. So Democrats don't defeat the bill again, because you did it the first time. I thought this was a very interesting soundbite, and everything that we've seen, maybe it's just me, but I think that this president has really amped up a lot of his talk about socialism. Joining me on the phone right now is the legendary Phyllis Schlafly, whose activism needs no introduction, and I know she has been watching all of this, including this Occupy movement as well. Mrs. Schlafly, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Dana. Good to join you.
It's so good to speak with you. This soundbite that we just played from the president, he thinks that we just need more stuff, that's what the problem is. We need to, and whenever he says we need to rebuild America, I'm always confused, because I didn't think that America needed rebuilding in the way that he means. What do you make of this?
Well, I think he wants to hire more government employees. They're the only kind of jobs he wants to increase. He wants to give us a country where people are dependent on government, and that's not what we want. We want him to get out of the way so that private enterprise can create jobs. And I'm just sorry. I think he is a socialist at heart. We really know this from the extensive research done by Stanley Kurtz, who researched what he did during his 2 years at Columbia, which nobody else had known about. And he attended a socialist scholars conference at which the leading speaker was this Francis Fox Piven, whose strategy for breaking capitalism was to load so many people on welfare that it breaks the system. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to do.
Absolutely. And especially with this, he keeps going on about this jobs bill. And I always find it so interesting, because he says that this is Republicans need to, maybe they couldn't understand it. We're going to break it down in bite-sized portions. Why can't Republicans pass this jobs bill? But what they're not telling anyone is that it was not the minority party in the Senate that had anything to do with this. This was the Democratic Party. This was Harry Reid. And now, after witnessing so many Democrats, Mrs. Schlafly, just absolutely revolt against this jobs bill, do you think that there's any hope at all whatsoever that this president is going to unite his inept party to pass something that's going to placate his base?
Well, I think he's going to be a one-term president, as Michelle Bachmann continues to say and repeat. And, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Now, we did pass his stimulus bill when he first became president, and it was a big failure. The feminists had a tantrum, and they demanded that women get the majority of the jobs, and they were not the ones who lost the jobs. It was the men who lost the jobs, and it did not reduce unemployment in this country. And now he wants to spend another whole bunch of money for another stimulus bill, and it's just the same old thing. It's not going to do the job. Get out of the way and let people develop their own ways to make money in this country.
Right. And this administration, and almost every single speech that he's given in the past several months, one of the things that he keeps mentioning, which is, obviously incorrect, is that it's the government that's responsible for absolutely everything. It's the government that has made the country what it is. And he gives no credit at all to the private sector. And I honestly think that he believes this. And of course, obviously, that's not the truth historically.
Well, of course, he never held a real job. The only job he ever held was community organizer. And he was groomed and trained for the job that he's in now, and he really doesn't know anything about how jobs really function and what brings them into being in this country. I think he is taking us down the same road of European socialism, and we see what a disaster that is. It's taking people into not working and dependent on government, expecting their entitlement, having long vacations, and really the whole idea of productive work is diminishing.
Right. One of the things that Representative Nancy Pelosi had said just last week, she was railing against the Republicans' opposition for the government subsidizing of abortion, and she accused the Republican Party of saying that they are going to allow women to die on the floor, which I thought was an absolutely heinous charge. What did you make of Representative Pelosi's just accusation?
Well, I think that just shows that the Democratic Party is completely in hot to the feminist movement. The feminists absolutely control the Democratic Party and Barack Obama. Whatever they demand, they get, and people are rejecting that. The overwhelming majority of the American people do not want to pay for abortions, and so you notice that when they had the negotiations about the debt increase some weeks ago, Harry Reid said that the one thing that absolutely was non-negotiable was the appropriation to Planned Parenthood. And that meant more to the Democrats than any other thing in the entire couple of $1 trillion budget. And that just shows how they are toadying to the feminists, because that's the litmus test of being a feminist. And I think they're running counter to what the American people want.
One of the things that you have said before, which I wholeheartedly agree with, is that the only way to stop this move towards socialism is to have a good conservative in office and vote for one next year. Is there any particular candidate that is in the primary right now that you think would stand a very good chance at defeating Obama coming up in 2012?
Well, I think there are a number of them. I haven't made a choice yet. I'm still watching all these debates and see who's coming out on top. But there are a number of very interesting people. I'm just not ready to make a choice.
Right.
But I'm telling you, Dana, I'm going to be for anybody who's running against Obama.
I think, well, and one of the things that I've noticed too, and we've talked about this on the show, so many of these polls, I mean, Obama's doing bad nationally. I mean, he has generic Republican candidate. They don't even bother naming any Republicans in pitting them up against Barack Obama. They just say generic Republican candidate, and that nameless individual beats him in the polls. But state by state, he's especially in Florida, which is a state he really needs to win. He's performing very, very badly, and I know that historically, any president that has an unemployment rate over 7% is not going to get reelected. I don't think it looks too good for the Democratic Party this go around. Do you?
Well, I hope you're right, because I think he's taking down us. Just remember, he said he wanted to fundamentally transform America, which means taking us away from a country of meritocracy, of exceptionalism, of being able to fulfill the American dream, of relying on yourself to make it in this world, and turning us over to dependency on government. And he also said, as he told Joe the plumber, that he wants to spread the wealth around, and that means spreading the wealth from taxpayers to non-taxpayers, and also from America to these third world countries around the world. And all of that means bad news for the future of our country and hanging a debt around the necks of our children and grandchildren that is simply unacceptable.
Absolutely. Phyllis Schlafly at the Eagle Forum.
Don't forget my website, eagleforum.org.
Yes, ma'am, eagleforum.org. Phyllis, it's an honor and a pleasure to be able to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Have a good day, Dana.
Thanks. You too.